Hello, and thank you for tuning in to Finance Wize, the show that empowers you to make informed decisions about your money. I'm Dantikos Jimmy Milani, and in today's episode, we'll be talking about budgeting. First, let's look into what exactly a budget is. A budget is a financial plan, or more precisely, a list of all planned expenses and revenues. It is a plan for saving, borrowing, and spending. A budget is an important concept in personal finance, and it can help you to illustrate the trade-offs between two or more household expenses and help you to prioritize expenses that are needs as compared to those that are only wants. In more simple terms, a budget is a plan stated in monetary terms. It can be for either an individual person, a small business, or for a big company, institution, or organization. Today's episode on budgeting is sponsored by the Financial Literacy Initiative. The Financial Literacy Initiative was officially launched in March 2012 in order to improve financial education and consumer protection for all Namibians, and comprises more than 30 platform partner institutions from the public, private, and civil society. Amongst the platform partners are commercial banks, government ministries, insurers, and investment managers, just to name a few. It was initiated by the Ministry of Finance in cooperation with GIZ, the German Development Corporation. This not-for-profit platform promotes the idea that by receiving financial education, one gains knowledge and wisdom to make informed decisions about managing money. A budget is a plan that shows how much one can spend against what they earn over a given period of time, for example, weekly, monthly, or yearly. So why can a budget be useful for you as an individual or as a business person? The answer is because it helps to guide you on how much money you can allocate for different needs. It also helps you not to run out of money at the end of the month and to overcome difficult financial situations. Now let's see what ordinary Namibians have to say about budgeting.
Budget is when you plan how you're going to spend your money and to know where and how to spend your money. That's when you pull up a system. Like for instance, I take a paper and say, okay, $1,000 gonna go here, $2,000 gonna go here. It's like planning, structure your money, where it's gonna go, how you're gonna spend it.
Well, a budget is a certain amount that you save per month. Not just per month, but in a determined space of time.
Well, so to say that a budget is something like when you decide on what you, like on the money you earn, you decide on how much you're gonna spend from that money that you have earned, and like you know how much you're gonna use for the month or something like that. I don't know. Yeah.
Why is a budget important?
A budget is important because it prevents you from overspending and going into debt. So that's practically it.
Yeah, with one reason I can say is just to avoid overspending money. Yeah, it's the only reason.
It's very important to budget because without budgeting you won't know where your money is going. And when you don't know where your money is going, the next day you go to the bank, then you don't understand where your money went.
If you budget, you'll know when to buy something, when, what to buy, and how to buy it.
How good are you at budgeting?
I'm horrible at budgeting. I never budget. I don't have a budget. And I usually overspend what I earn. So
I'm not really good at that. I have spent already money out of my budget actually.
I'm very good at my budget. I always pull up my budgets. My budget is always on point.
So you usually stick to your budget?
I always stick at my budget.
Not as good.
Do you stick to your budget usually?
Well, if I'm not good, of course I don't usually. Sometimes I exceed, other times I don't spend at all. So it's something, I don't live on a budget. I live on what I can afford right now at the moment.
Most of us already know at least a little bit about budgeting, but the next training clip will teach you everything you need to know about setting up your own budget, how to update your budget as your circumstances change, as well as getting back on track with your budget if for some reason you go off it. A budget will help you to plan for short-term expenses like your monthly bills and mid-term expenses like vacations, as well as long-term expenses like buying a house, paying for a child's university education, and putting money away for retirement. When you have a spreadsheet or notebook in front of you showing you how much money you expect to make over the next few months or years, how much of that money goes out every month, and how much you have left for saving each month, you'll always be able to know when you need to cut back on spending and when you can afford to spend a bit more. You will also know how long it will take to save for major goals. And if you're not happy with the numbers, knowing what they are will help you to take steps to improve your situation, whether that means focusing on paying off your debts to increase your monthly cash flow, or getting a better job so that you can make enough money to afford the things you need and want. There are several methods and tools available for creating, using, and adjusting a personal budget. Let's discuss the various systems you can use to track your money. A notebook and pen is the least expensive option and is within anyone's means. You can easily carry it with you and access it at any time. If you have access to a computer, an Excel spreadsheet is a good option. If you use a spreadsheet to track your income and expenses, you are less likely to make mistakes. And you can easily do calculations like how much you spend on groceries for the entire year. In addition, a spreadsheet can keep a running total of how much money you have left to spend in a particular month, and that adjusts every time you enter a new expense into your spreadsheet. Many people think of budgeting as something to do when you're short on cash. The truth is that budgeting isn't just for times when your money is tight or when your life is undergoing a major transition. Budgeting is for everyone, no matter your income level or whether you're employed or a business person who is in fact self-employed. In fact, budgeting will be that much easier in times of change if you do it all the time. Budgeting is an important component of financial success. It's not difficult to implement, and it's not just for people with limited funds. Budgeting makes it easier for people with incomes and expenses of all sizes to make conscious decisions about how they'd prefer to allocate their money. For many people, having a solid budget in place, knowing how much money they have, and knowing exactly where that money is going makes it easier for them to sleep at night. It also helps you to save regularly so that you are able to afford the things that you want and need, both on a short and long-term basis. In the next training clip, our resident investor Peter shows us some of the practical steps on drawing up your own budget.
That's my bills. People are hiding my things away. Anyway. Look, that's my bills lying around on top. All my bills just lying around.
Number 1. Gather every financial statement you can find. This includes bank statements, investment accounts, recent utility bills, and any information regarding a source of income or expense. The key for this process is to create a monthly average, so the more information you can find, the better. Number 2. Record all your sources of income. If you are self-employed or have an outside source of income, be sure to record these as well. If your income is in the form of a regular paycheck where taxes are automatically deducted, then using the net income or take-home pay is appropriate. Record this total income as a monthly amount. Number 3. Create a list of monthly expenses. Write down a list of all the expected expenses you plan on incurring over the course of a month. This includes your rent or home loan repayments, car repayments, car insurance, food, water, and electricity, entertainment, savings, and basically everything you spend money on. This is also a good opportunity to reflect on exactly what you spend money on and see if it is really necessary or not. Number 4. Break expenses into two categories, fixed and variable. Fixed expenses are those that stay relatively the same each month and are required as part of your way of living. They include expenses such as your home loan payment or rent, car payments, water and electricity, and so on. Variable expenses are the type that will change from month to month and include items such as petrol and entertainment. This category will be important when you are making adjustments. Number 5. Total your monthly income and monthly expenses. If your end result shows more income than expenses, you are off to a good start. This means you can prioritize these excesses to areas of your budget such as savings or paying on more of your debts to eliminate them faster. If you are showing a higher expense column than income, it means some changes will have to be made.
Oh, really? I'm remaining with 300 Namibian dollars. That's nice, man. Wait, this is impossible, man. Let me see. Electricity is here, labor is here, rent is here, and the water. So I'm remaining with 300 Namibian dollars. That's nice. I'm gonna save this one. So this budgeting thing really worked out. Really. I'm gonna save this one for next month.
Number 6. Update your budget monthly. It is important to review your budget on a regular basis to make sure you are staying on track. Remember, if you plan your finances well, you will always have enough money to spend and save. We asked some of the FLI platform partners to give us their views and advice on budgeting. See what they had to say in the next clip.
Okay, my name is Paul Eagleser. I'm an economist working for the Development Bank of Namibia. I have been with the organization for about 8 months. Prior to that, I was with the Bank of Namibia, where I also did research. My work basically entails, looking at the economy locally as well as internationally, our neighboring partners like South Africa, because they have an impact on our economy as well. But more in particular, I look at the impact that, the projects that we fund through the development bank would have in terms of development on the economy of Namibia. Okay, the Development Bank of Namibia was formed in 2000 through an Act of Parliament. It started operations in 2004, and the mandate of the Development Bank, like its name says, is basically to fund development of the Namibian economy, to develop the Namibian country basically. And what we do is we fund viable business plans of people that come to us looking for funding of business proposals. So we then fund those projects, but our core aim is always to look at the developmental impact that the money we are giving to the person, the enterprise, would have on the Namibian economy. Budgeting is a planning process. It's a process whereby an individual, an organization, an SME sits down and says, I have a particular income and I have certain expenditure. And then you match up the two by looking at what amount of money do I have and what are the expenses that I have to cover. And then you basically plan your expenditure versus your income, and you try and see what you can do with the money that's available. So it's actually a planning process where you sit down and you plan how you need to spend. Okay, the major components in a good budget is that you must have a list of activities or items that you want to fund, and you must have a clear picture of what the expenditure would cost you versus